There we go. We got it. Well, hello, everyone. I am so grateful for everyone who has shown up today on this beautiful Monday. This is the second CEO Blueprint call of June. And we're just so excited to have every single one of you here. You know, we actually host 2 CEO Blueprint calls every single month inside the Legacy Collaborative with no cost associated, no matter what brokerage you're a part of, so that you can grow your real estate business in alignment with what we're noticing in all the conversations with top producers who care about both having presence and profit. And that is what we remind you of every single day here is that presence and profit do not compete. You can be present with your family, present with your clients, present being closer to God, taking care of your health, all the things that matter most. And because of that, you can happen to attract people into your business that you love doing business with more and have more profit. And that is what we work on every single day here. And thank you for investing this time. You're going to want to make sure to pull up the workbook. I know that Marty will make sure that is in the chat. And we did something really cool last time. I think it's cool, but you guys know I'm a little dorky like that. Is we will have all of the workbooks on the website and all of the recordings, starting with the last one, the first June one, on the website as well for you to reference easily in case you miss something or want to go back to it. So make sure you pull up the workbook right now. It is online. And you can fill it out. You can save a copy and you can keep it after this so that you have everything and all of your thoughts digitally saved and that you can actually use it in your business and implement it faster because you're typing inside the workbook. And if you have any suggestions on how to make that better moving forward, you know, I'm a place of always improving. And I believe that feedback is the breakfast of champions. And you can always share with me what you'd like to see more or differently in the future, because we are collaborative and build this together. And I am so excited to have one of my friends for many, many, many years be our guest today. I was thinking about the topic that we were going to cover today that we had scheduled from the beginning of the year. And I messaged her at the beginning of last week and just said, I know this is short notice because she has an amazing business, an amazing life. She's an amazing mama. Is there any way at all that this hour next week you can squeeze in for me? And she said, yes. And I'm so grateful for that. But that's what happens when you schedule your time well and you're intentional with your life is you can think about what works. And I'm just so grateful to have time with you today, Jennie.
Well, thank you. I'm excited to be here. Hello, friends. Good to see you. Happy to share some time with you. And thanks for thinking of me, Saundra.
Absolutely. So Jennie has actually been in the real estate business for over 22 years. Even though
25.
she's 25 now. Okay, that was on your about page that you sent me. So got to update that.
Yeah,
But
I
yes,
think
okay, now 25.
flew
And
by.
how many families have you guys served?
Oh my gosh, over 25 years. I mean, it's just in the last, it's hard to say year over year from the last 5 years, right? We've gone from 200 families, 150 families, felt like big fat losers when we only helped 100 families, but then we realized that was still a beautiful business to have. So, yeah, so we just stay consistent with, 100 plus families each year is a lot of families to have an impact on and with, and we're just grateful for that.
Well, I'm super grateful you're here, and 100, who here would like to just consistently do 100 and be present with your family? Okay, because some of you who are already doing 100 or more, sometimes you being present with the things and people that matter most are lacking, right? And so that is what we're here to solve for today, and just keep having people come in. So excited.
Good.
So share with me, Jennie, for everyone here to when did you shift from being an agent to being a business owner or a builder of a business? Because that is the most significant shift I find that people have. And it really doesn't matter what size their business is. I know people that are still in the real estate or operator mindset, whatever their business is. I see we have a really amazing home inspection person on here too, but they stay in that operator mindset for far longer than is beneficial for their life and or their business. So I just want to explore that with you. What was the moment that you decided I'm going to be a business owner and I'm no longer just going to be in it every day?
Oh my gosh. Well, I'll tell you, I think that most of us get into real estate because we like helping people. And then we become defined by the help that we're giving, right? So when we get to help our buyers or sellers achieve their goals, we're the winner, we save the day, we're the hero. And I think that really fuels a lot of us over time. But then you start getting to a place and a point of burnout or breakdown where you're still doing the deals, but it may not actually feel good anymore. And you don't know quite why that is. Well, that was when I had my breakdown was in 2014. And in 2014, I was successful from the outside, but just dying on the inside, meaning I looked like I had it all figured out with the business and the people and the transactions and the team. But honestly, I was just being, flailing through it all. So I think the breakdown moment would have been like the defining moment for me of I had leverage in my life with team and agents, admin and agents, but I still wasn't leveraging correctly. I wasn't a great leader. And so I realized that although it looked good from the outside, I was still doing way too much. And so that's when I had to go from the, I do everything, I'm the best at everything, to realizing that I needed this help if I wanted, well, for myself to have this counterbalanced life, this life of alignment. But also, if I'm teaching and sharing with agents and team members and agents across the country about how to do it both, how to have both, then I needed to be helping my team members also learn how to take ownership of those pieces. So I think I just found all of my bold journals and coaching books, and I was just reading my own notes from 2016 of me like chanting of how to be a better leader and ask better questions, and knowing then that it wasn't about Jennie selling the houses anymore. It was about helping others achieve their goals inside of real estate.
There's so much goodness and gold in what you just said. And for those of you, because we do have people in the Legacy Collaborative that are from many different brokerages and many different businesses. So if you don't know what BOLD is Business Objective, A Life by Design. It is a program that many people have taken over the years. It's evolved in design, and it's one of the programs inside of Keller Williams that Jennie has been a part of many, many, many times over the years, that just causes you to intentionally choose to work on your mindset, on your business, and to become a different person. And that's when she wrote the notes. So I'm sure all of you can think about a time that you've written notes around where you are, and maybe today is one of those days for you to just choose, based on this conversation, how you're going to take the greatness that you already represent in your business and life and just make it 1% better as a result of this conversation. Was there a specific moment with your business or with your family that caused you to choose that you were going to do less in your business and be more intentional?
Yeah, I think it was absolutely around that same time frame when I had my production double from 23 units as a solo agent to 51 that next year. And at that time, my daughter, I have one daughter, she's already in college now, flies by so fast, but she was 4 years old. And I remember having the tears and of crying and of pain and misery because I was so stressed and so spread thin that I just needed any kind of relief. And back then I wasn't great at didn't really know how to be a leader yet. And so it was whatever kind of leverage I could get. It was helping. Somebody's got feedback if you guys want to mute yourselves. Okay.
I just handle it. Thank you.
Okay, good. And then I just remember bawling and crying, and I was just super stressed. And so that's when I just knew that I was taking so much pride in my skills of uploading a new listing to the MLS and adding photos and creating flyers. Like I took lots of pride in all of that. I loved it. And so I was justifying that as doing my job. But then I realized, wait, my job is actually go meet more people, have more conversations, get into a relationship. That's my strength zone. So I had to get very clear on what are my true strengths and what are the most dollar productive activities for me. And I needed to learn how to leverage off the rest.
I love it. So you got very intentional about your dollar per hour, your energy per hour, and that is one of the things we talk about all the time. Are you daily considering what is your highest and best energy, which you are so great at with your teaching and all of the systems that you've shared with agents for years on how to help make their business great? And also, what causes you to Bacon. Okay. Hopefully, we will not have that again. Make sure you stay muted on every device you're on until we unmute to ask questions so we can just make sure we don't cause feedback like that again, please, guys. Thank you. Let us know if you're having trouble finding the mute button. We'll get it for you. Okay. So I know that you built the majority of your business with referrals, which is why people showed up today. So let's go ahead and talk about what creates a referral and what's happening to cause them that most agents miss.
Ooh, great question. And my first thought was that what creates a referral is a trusted relationship, right? So, I mean, just like you, if you have a friend who needs, to get their hair cut and you really like your person and trust them, you're going to pass along that referral. So that is exactly the same in our business. Unfortunately, ours is just a bigger dollar amount attached to it. So there's even more responsibility in people sharing and receiving referrals. And so we have to also do what we say we're going to do when it comes to delivering an amazing client experience. And we need to always reward that referral, especially early on before anything even happens from it. So every single bit of that process is a touch plan, a system, a checklist that can all be built over time. And it shouldn't be something to stress about immediately, but just see where you are with your systems and your experience that you're delivering and make a plan to improve on that.
I love that. And you are great at this. And I know the people that showed up today are like, I have some things in place, but I came for the one thing I'm not yet doing. So we don't have time to unpack all of your systems that you built all over all of these 25 years today. And that would be fun. That might be like a whole week experience or something. But
Probably.
uh, and let's talk about a couple of things. So, how do you set that expectation of the experience people are going to have up from the very beginning in the
Oh,
first conversation? I would love to talk about that. And
yeah.
then, how do you remind them, hey, this is the like, what does that process look like for you? I know a lot of people that do that, and I really want to hear your systems for that.
Yeah. I mean, it really is a mindset that you must have. So before you can share with people the amazing client experience that you're going to deliver, you have to believe that you have an amazing client experience. So that means having a system and a checklist and processes, not just winging it every single time. Although each client is different and unique, you still want to have systematic approaches so that they're all receiving the same experience. Yes, there can be some specialties inside of each if it's, that's the way it goes. But how we start the conversations, well, first and foremost, I am an Exactly What to Say certified guide with Phil M. Jones. If you guys haven't yet read or listened to Exactly What to Say, that is a great place to start for how you improve your conversations with your people. When we do get to the appointment and we're face to face, when we're having the seller consultation or the buyer consultation, and let me just pause there. Yes, these are face to face, sit down with a professional business conversation around their goals and their dreams and their expectations. This is a real sit down face to face. We have our presentation books that you guys probably have. Nowadays, the beauty of Canva and the world allows you to just put together, I'm sure Saundra even has one, of some version of a buyer or seller guide. And this is that you are sharing with them after you've already had great questions and understand, and you've got in flow with them, that you are there to help them and you really understand all their situation. Then as we work through the guide of the whole process of buying or selling, they see though that we are professionals. Now, why I'm bringing this all up is because we have what we call our promise. And maybe you've heard of the promise, our promise. It is a way, it's been used by many and across our industry. And it was brought to us by a guy named Mike Hicks, an agent out of Idaho, small town. And he just dominates his market. And how he does it is from repeat and referral business. And it's because he created this promise. And so we just adapted it into our business. But if you're here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, you don't know about Mike Hicks, so it's not weird. So you guys also can use this exact same framework and idea. And what we just share from the beginning is we share with them, and I'm happy to share a link to this, Saundra, so everybody can get an idea of what it looks like. But we just share our mission and we just say what our mission statement is as our real estate team. And then we say our promise. And our promise is then to work as a team to ensure a smooth and seamless transaction, to exceed expectations, to be solution based, to make every effort to be proactive, limit surprises. You get it. So we've got some bullet points of how we're going to promise them this high level of experience. And then we say, this is the kicker, our goal. And our goal is that we will deliver our promise to you by the time we get to the closing table, that you will have had such an amazing experience with us that over time, either during the pending or during the time we're working together, time we get to closing, you will have thought of someone or heard of someone who may need some real estate help as well. And we would hope that you've received such an experience that that would be the case, that you would pass over your friends and family to us. And so we say that's our goal. So you can see that it as you read it and you go in and you get into sync with it yourself, it becomes very natural to share this conversation with people. And they all are like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Here's the truth. Do I get to the closing table and we haven't received a referral? Yes, of course. They're busy packing and moving and life and kids, like, right? Like, we aren't top of mind, but we are planting the seed. So we've planted the seed from our very first meeting to the time we get to closing, and then with our follow up and our touch plans and our communication and our invitations and our giveaways and our invites to our in person events, that they are seeing that we are professionals and know that we are a referral based business. Does that make sense?
Awesome. Well, I always like to think in questions. And one of the questions I would ask the people here is what seeds are you planting?
Yeah.
Right? Because you are just sharing how you're planting those seeds and then you're consistent with it. And you just listed lots of things that you've incorporated into your systems and your touch program to contribute to people, deliver value, create experiences, all of the things that bring you into closer relationship and add value to their lives to be a true lifestyle concierge. So I would love for you to share what's one small thing. It could be an event, it could be a touch that really had a multiple effect beyond what you and your team could have possibly thought it would, whether it's an event, a reach out. What's one of the small things that you do that had the biggest impact?
I mean, something I'll share, I don't know that it had the biggest impact, but it's a simple add-in and I'm just been updating it for our team is we have 3 touch points inside of our time of working together. I have an older bag that isn't the exact one now, but you can just buy these little swag bags online and super cheap. The ones we have now are white. This is just an older version. And we have a bag at the appointment. So inside of the bag at the appointment would be this is when we're sitting down with them face to face for a listing appointment or a buyer consultation. And in the bag are things that have our logo and info on it, right? So we've got a water bottle and a koozie, and we've even got some earplugs. If you guys have you ever had this happen where as soon as somebody starts needing to buy or sell, that everybody keeps talking to them about how the process should go and how their great uncle sold houses 30 years ago and he knows best about home inspections, right? And so we have these earplugs or I don't know if I have some really nearby,
That
but
is so genius.
and it allows for conversation to say, "Hey, we know people are gonna start talking, and so this is just your reminder, put your earplugs in and know that we got you, we've got your back." So just little tiny swag things inside of each bag, and we give it to them at the time of when they sign the agreement. And then at the under contract day, which we would define as, like, inspection day. So, like, for a buyer, it's the day they go on the inspections. I'm tweaking these up a little bit. So the new things that I'm putting it on, I actually have my list right here. I can share you. I'm pretty excited about this. So the under contract phase is some packing tape. We were already providing packing tape in the front bag, but now we're going to put it in the second gift bag because this is where now it's time to get packing. A Sharpie just to make sure they label everything. We're gonna have some branded tote bags instead of the paper bag so that they can actually start, moving things or using it for their move. And then kind of a survival kit inside of this. So these are kind of things we're already using. I'm just updating it to be a little bit more for today. And then the last is closing, of course. We've always been giving them a bottle of bubbles or their favorite beverage, and we know their favorite beverage because we have a VIP onboarding for each client. And so if they're non-drinkers, and there's lots in today's world, they might want some. I mean, I gave my sister a 2 liter of Dr. Pepper because that's what she drinks. We have a little branded keychain, super cheap, super cute. It also looks good on you coffee mug because that ties in our connection to the community of how we promote local businesses and nonprofits. And then a new home survival kit as well. All of these little goodies thrown in are not a lot of money, but I think the difference here, though, is that especially at the front end of the working together, other agents are probably not bringing a gift at listing appointment. They're definitely not celebrating the pending period. And then definitely, I'm sure there's a closing gift. But the idea with our closing gift is it doesn't even have to cost a lot of money because right out of the gate, from closing and beyond, we share with them we're going to be staying in touch. Like right now, we have a movie event next weekend, Toy Story 5. So don't worry, you'll be on the invite for that. We always know what's lined up to be inviting them to.
And
Maybe
all the
that.
kids are happy about that movie right now, so that
Yes,
is
me too.
excellent.
Me too.
My son was begging me to take him, so that is on the agenda for the next week. And do you guys do a movie every year, by the way?
We have, yes,
Okay.
that's one of our staples, mainly because, and I think you need to know your audience and know your market.
Yeah.
We get really hot in Oklahoma and there is no fun. Nobody wants to get out in the summertime and be outside. So we're like, what's inside that people would just can be in the air condition? And we find that that's a really great event. Now, with all events, and you guys know this, but all events, they're sponsored by those that you help build their business. They are always willing to give back to yours. So we zero out all of our events with our vendor partners that are grateful to be a part of and be in business with us.
I know this wasn't on the plan, but I love that you just said that. You know that I'm a spreadsheet profit
Yes.
guru and love this conversation. So, really quick question. What are your systems around setting yourself up with your vendor partnerships? Usually, I
Mhm.
have conversations with people to like create your partnership plan and your budget for the following year around September, October, and have those conversations and then invite who your partners will be. But what are your systems in case they don't already have that?
Yeah, I mean, I think because we've been doing it for so long, we've got our vendors who have found the value in participating with us. And so we really have gone more narrow than wide when it comes to our client events. So if it's an in-person event, we're really just doing 3 larger database or VIP events each year, and then just a couple, what we call micro events. So those are smaller and more intentional. And then if we were to do maybe like 5 online giveaways. So the online giveaways might have one thing that people want to call you or fill out a form to enter to win that thing. And so, like you said, Saundra, we're just going to know because we do the same things year after year what our budget is. The beautiful part, and maybe see if this is an option in your area, our farmers rep, she is now gets reimbursed for a portion of her commitment to my team. So we can count on about $1,000 a month from her.
Farmers insurance?
Mhm.
Your insurance rep. Okay, awesome.
Yeah. And so, and this could be any of your reps. I mean, of course, your lenders are gonna probably make the most off of you if you have title companies. I don't know if you do, though they always are good for smaller donations.
We're
And
an attorney state. I'm
okay.
here, but there are people from all different places on the call.
Yeah. So whoever your home inspectors, my gosh, our home inspectors definitely have value in us. And so really it's just mapping out how much do we have? Does it cost us each year? And then just asking for their commitment early on.
Awesome. Thank you for that. I know that people on here are working on that specifically right now. So that was great. What does your team have permission to do for clients without asking?
Good. So mainly that would be probably our lead admin because she's in the detail. And then also agents have permission. I think that it still needs to be just an okay with me, but like we do charge a transaction fee with every closing. And so our fee, when needed, can be waived. For example, things come up last minute in renegotiations, or a client's yard needs to be mowed. And so we can help take care of that. It's not anything that ever gets denied, but it's something that's as an option. We can earmark that for the oops, just in case kind of things. Yeah.
I love how intentional that is because I know that you've been building your value and your experience for a long time and that you're confident in that and that you have such an excellent business and a great reputation. And I find that when something does happen, if someone has less years in the business than you, sometimes they can have conversations or wonder how to help with that or if they can. So I love that
Yeah.
that's like, in case of emergency, this is a possibility to help.
Yeah. We learned this from Leslie and Andy Peters. On our VIP form, we have a question to the client that says, if you had $100 to spend on yourself, what would you buy? And so you kind of get some fun ideas of if during the process things get tough or challenging, you would know they're kind of secret sweet treats or things that might be fun for them. So you could always throw that out there.
That is so great, and I have heard them share that before. That's such a great
Mm.
touch. How do you stay consistent with people at scale? You've shared some of those things already, and I know that your role in the business is to be like the teacher and stay in your strength zone and care about people well and contribute to them. So, how do you stay in touch? And who are the people that you focus on calling versus your team? Because I've had that question before as the
Mhm.
database scales.
Okay, yes. Honestly, when you get to where I am with my business is my first and foremost VIPs and clients are my team members. So that's who gets my love and attention first. If they are feeling appreciated and trained and valued, then that makes my life better and easier. Then I'm going to probably go to my VIPs, and those are going to be my longtime clients and friends. And so, like something we relaunched this year, we'd started this back in 2017. We'd called it our Rockstar program. And so that was just our VIPs as a team. So, who are the people we really got clear? Like, who are the people that share referrals with us, engage with us, show up, support us? That sounds like a lot of us. But of course, that's the business that we're in. And so, if we're going to love on them and value them, then we would like to over time get some reciprocated. And so this may not be a huge group of people. This could be 100 people. Right now, we just relaunched our program because we'd kind of gotten off with the speed of the pandemic days. We'd still stayed in touch with our people, but not as intentional. And so we've relaunched this so that every month, just these VIP rock stars are getting a little extra. So maybe if we already have an online event going on, they get double entry because they're a rock star. So they get like exclusive treatment. Then, with that, meaning they would have probably a more personalized invitation, right? Like a one-to-one text or phone call to make sure they saw that so that they don't miss out on that giveaway or that prize. We did so those are my VIPs. I did an International Women's Day event this year where we had it at a gal who does skincare. So she set up this whole experience for 20 to 25 women that were basically my VIPs, right? It's our team, the ladies of our rockstar group. And we got to learn how to do facials and get products and have bubbles and charcuterie. And so my people, Saundra, if I'm to answer you, would be the longtime VIPs and top referring people. Those are the ones that I'm going to be staying in touch with. We've got systems around, and this is where I think sometimes we, as busy agents, we get overwhelmed. And like, do you guys have a group of people in your database that you met one time randomly or they opted into something and you don't really know them? You've never had a conversion conversation with them, but they're still floating around in your database. Do you guys have any of those people? I feel like that's probably, and those are probably the people you're like, I don't even know them. Why do I keep beating myself up over this? Well, what I started doing was leveraging my virtual assistant to go through our unmet database. So people that we don't know, we've never converted. And in a TCPA compliant way, she's sending a text that looks like it's coming from Jennie because it's coming through our CRM. And it's really just using an exactly what to say framework as a question just to get a response. And so that way we're able to still touch base with people, but then that frees up time to focus on the real relationships, right? Because sometimes we fool ourselves that over here, all these unmet, maybe some days they would use me, but they don't even know me. People were putting energy over there before we're just having a coffee date with a loyal and true friend.
Yes.
Makes
I
sense.
love this conversation. I know all the people that coach with me already know how much I talk about this exact topic. Couple of things I want to double click on for the benefit of everyone here. So, one is what was your initial definition of VIPs when you started this? And what's your current definition of a VIP? So, let's start there.
Okay. Well, we defined it back when we started exactly the same that it is now. And actually, I have it right here because we're having our mid-year review and redefining what it is. Oh, that's not my rock star one. Give me 2 seconds and I will just pull this up for you because I've just been
So
working
I
on it.
love what you just said. I want everyone to recognize
Yeah,
that they're
I've
doing a
defined it.
review, right?
Hmm.
Mid-year reset time, perfect time to do a review of your business. And they're continuing to think about what does this definition look like, even if it doesn't change very much. So that's a habit you can have on your calendar while she's pulling it up that you can just take that away and make sure you have it applied.
Do you, can I share my screen? Oh, I can. Can I share my
Yes, you
screen?
can. Yes, you can.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So this is our mid-year review, but in it after we are going to review all the numbers, we see that most of our business comes from repeat referral business in our sphere. And so that was just then the reminder because we relaunched this at the beginning of this year. So we're calling a refresh definition. And so our current count is 188 rock stars. Now, what we've learned is that we do separate partners. So if you think about it, some of these could be the same family. So that number may be smaller per family. But what we noticed was that inside of a partnership, sometimes one might be more outgoing and more social and more referring of a person than the other one. And so that's why it's pulled out. So we've got 188. And so we say, what is a rock star? Rock star is more than a past client. They are people who show up, refer, and champion our team. Their status is earned through a combination of relationship depth, transaction history, and ongoing engagement. So you can see all of our qualifications. They don't have to be a past client to qualify, but they do then, if they're not, then they would need to be referring type people. Like I have friends that have been, I've known them for, gosh, 20 years, but they've always lived in their same home, but they've referred many, many people to me over the years, even though they haven't yet been a client. And then you can just see referrals or engagement or transactions. And it can just be a combination of those. And then we talk about here a strong met contact who has never transaction but refers us constantly. They can qualify. And then the other thing I want to talk about that I'll share with you guys, I just did a video on this, is this part right here. The problem is that we think that we just need to ask all of our top VIPs, "Hey, who do you know that needs to buy, sell, or invest in real estate?" And that's going to work. And I'm sorry, that's icky and gross. And so that's what I was going to teach my team. What I'm teaching my team for our mid-year review is instead let's shift that. So you can see right here, the shift is to stop asking if they need anything, ask who they know. Ask someone to refer themselves can feel like putting them on the spot. Asking who they know removes the pressure entirely and opens the door naturally. So it could be something like, who do you know that might be thinking about making a move in the near future? I think it's even better to be more specific. Like, I have this amazing new listing coming on. Who do you know that wants to be in the school district that I could reach out to? So even if they can't think of one, we're helping them narrow their thinking to a specific person rather than like the whole world that might know somebody that might want to buy or sell, right? And so I'll just stop sharing there. But the idea for the who do you know question is to get them very narrow in their thinking so that they can think of the person that might fit that. And maybe that person is them, but we've taken it off of more of a like, who do you know? Send me business kind of question to more specific. And so
Love
that's my
that.
favorite. That's my favorite thing right now is adding value, but also even if they can't think of anyone right now, totally fine, of course. And you are showing them that you're a professional and you do this for your clients.
That's
So then
exactly right. That's
they'll
so
know that
perfect.
you will do that for them as well.
So, one of the things I want to ask you in addition to that is do you teach them a specific way to introduce you to take that part
Yes.
off their plate? Yes.
Yeah, actually, that was down a little further, and it's the main idea is that, "Oh my gosh, that would be so awesome if would you mind just going ahead and connecting us in a three-way text just so that we're all there on the same page?" Absolutely. Yeah.
Perfect.
Right?
I'm of the opinion that people wanna help you and they just don't know how, and what you just talked
Yeah.
about is something I talk about all the time. Teach them how to help you. They all know at least 200 more people, and we're not teaching them how to help.
Yeah.
So
So
good.
easy.
Who owns the process after close, and where do you document your systems? If people here are either creating or upgrading their systems and processes manual, where's that? And then who owns your post-close process, which is your touch system you've already talked about? Who are the people that do that part for you?
Yeah, so with all these years, everything first just started out as a checklist somewhere. So you have processes and systems, they might not be in the best use place that they can be. So first off, I say start where you are and what systems do you need to create, write it down, put it on a spreadsheet. And now all of ours lives inside of our CRM, the checklist do. And so it would be the after closing checklist gets applied. Well, who owns that would be our lead admin. Right? She's going to make sure the dates are set up correctly. If you're a solo agent, well, that's you, and you just assign whatever the task list is. Whatever CRM you have, I'm sure you have smart plans, auto plan, action plans that can just be applied. I'm telling you, I am so old that my old day systems were a piece of paper on a file folder. Sean knows what I'm talking about. And so if that needs to be your system today, do that system. But over time, the process and procedures just got updated, whether it was in a Google document, then spread out and then put into different checklists and systems. And it is owned by lead admin. Always reevaluated, always thought through. Something else that I'll share from my mid-year review is something that we talk about at every review. And we learned this from our friend Jordan Freed, that was my coach for many years. And it is to pause and reflect with your business and ask yourself these three questions, which are
And how
somewhere
often are those reviews, Jenny?
quarterly.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So these are the questions at each review we pause with. So, what expectations should we be setting, but we aren't? So, you know that this happens when you have a ball dropped or a client is upset because they didn't understand the process. So, what did you drop the ball on that you need to make sure that you don't ever do that again? It's just a system, it's a checklist, it's a reminder. And then that's number one, expectations should we be setting that we aren't? Two is what expectations are we setting, but they aren't being heard? Okay, think about that one. What would be an example of that?
Communication.
Yeah, like you think that you're saying it.
Yeah. When
So
you're available, what the communication looks
yeah,
like.
but
Yeah.
they're not hearing it. So that is a question that just made me realize as I've been working with a couple current sellers, I realized in our seller book, our seller book is all about us pricing, marketing, the pre-listing process to get the listing. And then I went, wait a minute, we don't talk about in here or go into depth the pending process. And isn't the pending process the toughest part? Keeping the deal together through inspections and appraisal. And so because we asked these questions, Saundra, I realized, oh, we just thought that they understood that there's these different timelines and all these different things are happening, but they were not spelled out. And so I just updated our books to then, this is a quick tip of all I did. I uploaded the Oklahoma real estate contract and financing addendums into my best friend Claude. And I said, hey there, I've realized that during our seller process, our clients aren't understanding all of the timelines and expectations of the contract. Can you please help me write up a frequently asked questions form? And it is this beautiful document of everything that a client would need to know about the contract.
So good. And what's cool about what you just did with that, Jenny, is if you had that landing somewhere on your website and then you could capture email addresses for people who had interest in getting it from you, that would
Yeah.
be really fast to see, who was interested in that process that you don't yet have in your database.
Yeah, I love that. And then the
So
third
good.
question, just so I don't leave it hanging there, is what do clients expect from us that we're not hearing? So that question can be really thoughtful. This one makes you go, okay, what are other agents or teams or businesses out in the world doing that, they have an expectation that we do it too, but we don't know what it is. So those are just the questions we ask ourselves that help us just to improve on a system that I just am not going to let us be ho hum status quo. We can't.
No,
We
that's
got to
so
keep
great.
moving and grooving. Yeah.
Well, and you just have so many surprise and delight things. And some of the books that I thought about when coming to this conversation that I know that you've used to implement into your business too are Unreasonable Hospitality and the standards from some of the top hotels and just some of the different books that we've studied together along the way. And I love how you're being so intentional with your systems on that. And me and Sean have personally experienced how you have surprise and delight touch systems for leadership or agent referral partners and just how kind and thoughtful you are. So, when it comes to your agent referral relationships and systems to take care of them, I know a lot of the things that you do, and I would love for you to share what you do to contribute to your agent peers.
Okay, yes. Hi. I have been in this business for so long. I realized years ago that I had made a lot of realtor friends across the country from attending conferences or now, the online options of Zoom rooms like this where you get to meet and collaborate with agents from across the country. And so I just got very intentional probably in 2004, 5, 6, when I had been an agent that moved from one city in the state of Oklahoma to another city to my hometown. I'd been gone for quite a while. So I had to restart my business here in Tulsa. And so I reached out to the agents that I had known in Norman, Oklahoma and said, "Hey, I am now in Tulsa if you ever need anyone." Well, it worked because they already knew me and trusted me. So they passed their referrals. And I was like, this is something I'm going to always have as a part of my business. And so over time, that's grown. I treated my agent database just like my client database. So that's the first step. Think about your current client database. How do they hear from you? How do you communicate with them? And then can you duplicate that for an agent database as well? You have their name and their email and their address, maybe their home or their office address as well, and then their birthday, right? So they are your new database and they live inside of your regular database. They're just tagged differently. They have a tag that you can easily pull them out. And so early on for me, it was a quarterly postcard I would put in the mail, and it would just remind people in the state of Oklahoma where we were and who we served, and have like a Google review from another agent that we had helped close their client. And so that was the in the mail piece. And then it was still rewarding the referrals. So as soon as a referral comes in, we send out automatically a thanks a latte gift card, $5 to Starbucks. It's not a lot. It's not a lot of money. But then whenever the client closes, we send out a nice box full of good swag from Tulsa. So some local coffee and some local honey and some local pecan butter and all this stuff that just says thank you so much for being a great referral partner. And so we love on them that way. Otherwise, the more value add, I would say, would come when I realized that I was getting a lot of referrals from Oklahoma City because I had taken a class in Oklahoma City, that bold class. I'd taken it 3 times in 1 year. And so I was getting lots of agent referrals from there. And I was feeling really guilty because there was just no way I would have been able to repay all of the referrals I was getting to that area. And so I thought, what could I do that would give and add value to these agents, to agents across the country? Well, I can just share all the systems. I'm a systems freak and I have all these checklists. So I created a video blog that went out twice a month where I would just create a video. This is like in 2014 and 15 and 16. Like I was
You were
terrible.
so ahead of all of this.
So I was terrible on video. It's so bad. So bad. If you want to feel good about yourself, go to my no, don't do it. But I would just make videos. I'd be like, "Hey, it's Jenny. Here's a tool that we use in our business. When it comes to customer experience, we do this, this, and this, or whatever." And it's just a short little video. And so that's where I started your journey with Jenny. It's just my Facebook group and my website where I just share back the lessons I've learned, the things I've failed through. And that's just my gift back to my agent community. And that seems to work because such a big portion of our business each year comes from agent referrals from across the country. So thank you.
I love that you've done that well, and I'm glad you mentioned your Facebook group. It has added so much joy and value to my life over the years as well, so thank you
Oh,
for that.
sure.
And one of the things that I just want to say to the people on here is many times you're looking for other ways outside of contacting the people you already know to have business, and you're looking for, what do I need to buy leads from here, or this new shiny object, or this or that? And I'm just telling you, if you're going to pay more than 25% anyways, why wouldn't you lean into agent relationships with trusted handoffs with people that have a similar client experience desire to you than looking for random ways to add additional leads to your database?
So agree with that. So agree with that.
Yes. Okay, and then we're going to wrap it up with this, and then we're going to open it up for questions. So get your questions ready. You guys know I like highly interactive calls, and I don't want you to miss getting your small or big question answered. What did you have to stop apologizing for to become the leader that you are now? So for you to be able to transition your role to be able to go teach more and to be able to bring in leads in alignment with who you are, what did you have to stop apologizing for?
I had to stop apologizing. I would say the biggest hang up that I had and probably others have had is that your clients only want you to help them. So I had to get really great at the pass off. So it was a natural transaction and transition for the client to work with the agent instead of me, or even an admin, right? Because some solo agents have the fear that, and we even get pushback all the time still in our market where solo agents don't like working with teams. And I think that's just their own small thinking is they don't know the value and the beauty of a team, but that's just my own little tidbit. But I think the thing I had to get good at was releasing that I was the best at everything and rather that others can probably do it better or at least do a great job.
What does your handoff conversation look like?
Well, I mean, yeah, like for example, I got a referral from a past client and a girl that, I know very, very well. And I needed to go and do the buyer consultation because I have a new team member on the team. She's been in business for 7 years, but she needed to shadow me on a buyer consultation. So I said, I'd like for you to join me because it was on her checklist anyway. And I said, before the appointment, I said, would you be open to me facilitating the buyer consultation, including you, and then me stepping out of the way and you being the buyer agent? And she said, yes, absolutely. And so all I did was I did the facilitation, we had the conversation, and I said, now this is great. So Angie's gonna get you set up on your portal search and you guys are gonna go find some houses.
Love it. I've heard a few different versions and it comes up all the time. So I just wanted you to share that. Thank you so much. And how does being a mom shape the way that you lead? Because I've even experienced in the past few years times where you were traveling teaching at one point, and then we both had like a similar life journey part of our daughters getting to a
Mhm.
certain part of their schooling at the same time. And I totally understand why you were like, it's like her ending of high school time, and I just need
Yeah.
to be present with her. So talk about how being a mom shapes the way you lead.
Well, it's everything. I mean, I choose to be a great mom and also a great business owner. And I can't have both equally if I'm hanging on to every piece of the real estate transaction and all the relationships. I have to have help with that. And it helped me be better at leveraging because I know that at the end of the day, Mia is my number one, my number one. Like she's everything. And so therefore that makes it makes the decisions easier when my values are very clear. And whether it's my child or my family or extended family or friends, like that what this is what I teach all the time right now is when your values are clear, you build your calendar and your life around them first of what matters most. And then the rest fits into the other time blocks purposefully and intentionally. Now they go together, but first they go in an order of importance.
Amen. I actually have a whole session that I do on pillars, and all of my elite clients, I'm sure they're smiling right now, are like, yep, this
Mhm.
sounds familiar, but that's so great. When your values are clear, decisions are easy. It's so true.
Right. That's right.
So thank you. You provided tons of very specific value in a very short time, and I knew you would. And I'm just so grateful for you making time for us. I would love to open it up right now for questions or ahas or takeaways so that Jennie can leave this session knowing the impact that she made for all of you. And as long as you pulled up the workbook, make sure you do. we have your email address and she's going to receive it so she can send all of the things that she adds as value to all of you. And you guys can recommend her in Tulsa. So you will get to stay connected with her. And if you didn't pull it up, just go ahead and type your email in and we'll make sure that you get everything she sends out. But go ahead and just hop on and ask your questions and share what your top takeaways are. Now is when you can unmute.
While you guys are so deeply thinking of your powerful question, I put in the link, just my Facebook group, and I'll just let you come in. And I intend to share morning inspiration, tips, or tools that we're using in our business and all that good stuff.
Hi, this is Pamela. Sorry, I was yelling at my toddler right now. Not my toddler, my pop. I wanted to say thank you because literally everything that you just mentioned today is what I've been dealing with and trying to find the right process to actually let go of so many things. But one of the things that you said is, well, you have to stop thinking that they want to work with you, right? With only you and that no one else can do it properly.
Yeah, that's so good and so true. We tend to think that we're the one that has to do all the things, and we don't. They don't care about who does it. They just want to receive a good client experience and achieve their goal of buying or selling. They don't care who delivers that piece of the service.
I have a really hard time letting go. So, specifically, what did you do or how did you train that person in your support or how did you document the system so that you actually let go and know that it was going to get done at your level?
Well, first off, you only hire people that you've taken through a process to really understand that they're the right fit for the role behaviorally and with experience or skill or mindset. And then say they are the right fit, then today's world offers all this cool technology. I can open up a Zoom, I can share my screen, I could do a training video of how to do this process. And that video then becomes your checklist and process for that new person. You have them watch it. Now I've even been using Otter or any other kind of transcription tool in
Even
AI.
Google does it now.
Yeah, so whatever transcription you have now, you can like I did this with a new team member. I taught her out loud the process of what happens when we get a new buyer lead, and I walked her through this whole checklist, and then afterwards, then I had a beautiful documented process. This happens, then this happens, they get this happens. And so you just have to take the time to set them up to be trained properly. And then once that's documented and they follow it, you do it together. And then you do it together, and then they do it and you watch them, and then you know that they're good. And that little bit of setup is worth all of the release later on.
Yeah, yeah. But you actually have to do it and let go.
Yes, you actually have to do it. You're doing it anyway. You're already doing it anyway.
Currently, now that I've had someone shadow me, a lot of it just lives in my head and I forget to communicate it properly.
Well, use some form of a transcription tool, like let it play while you're telling them, and then it will create action plans and summaries for you. I think that's where we need to be leaning in, especially as moms, is to these time hacks that these AI tools can help us with.
Okay, thank you. And again, thank you for pouring into us. This has been
Thank you.
Okay, we have one more time for one more question. And if you got a specific thing, definitely put it in the chat so you'll know she'll see all the top takeaways you've gotten. If you invested an hour here, I want to make sure you have at least one thing you're going to go take away or implement. And one more person who wants to ask questions or share your takeaway.
Could I? I
Yeah.
would. Hi. This is a very simplistic, complicated question, but may seem obvious to a lot of people, but not to me. How did you know? And thank you for, like Pamela said, thank you for everything and sharing with us today. And I see a lot of parallels between things I'm learning with Saundra and things that you said today. But how did you know when it's time to hand off? What was your first, that kind of let you relinquish control? I'm speaking for myself.
Unfortunately, when you get to the point of having to leverage, it's probably too late. Because you
Right.
probably already dropped some balls or you've missed out on opportunities because you were too busy in the transaction,
Right.
dealing with the pieces of the transaction and not continuing to lead generate for future business or deepen relationships or what following up. And so I don't want you to have to get to that. So your point might be different than mine. Mine was that had a small human that I loved a lot, and I was being a crappy mom and a crappy real estate agent at the same time. And so that's was the defining moment. Like, I was sick of that.
Okay. Thank you. That's a good answer.
She also
Okay.
is a mom, so that was a great answer.
Yeah.
Anyone else have a question that you just have a burning desire to ask? I don't want to let anyone off of here if you wanted to ask her something. Okay.
All
Thank you
right.
for your time, Jennie. Thank you all for being here. The next one is July 13th at 12. You will get an email, and there will be a recording of this on YouTube. And I'm just so grateful for all of you showing up today and can't wait to hear what you implement from this. Let Jennie know, let me know. We love to hear how these meetings impact your business and your life. I know
Thanks,
she's driven by impact, and we're just so grateful for your time. You guys have a great rest of your week, and we'll talk soon. Let's celebrate wins on Wednesday.